start to the music, the music, the music has made me the music, the music, the music hazy. The music, the music, the music has made me the music, the music, the music hazy.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Good evening.
Let's go.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. It's been a
Yeah.
while coming. Been planning this for about a week and a half now, right?
Yeah. So I'm excited to finally be on the show.
No, absolutely. I apologize we couldn't do it in person due to
Yeah.
limitations with the
It's
cast
like,
and no, talk
yeah,
to me.
it's a different vibe when it's all, when we're all in the same room.
I strongly agree. I strongly agree. But then again, I do have strong opinions that will stir the pot. So I still feel like this will definitely get the juices flowing. But then again, this is the Daily Heat Check Smokecast. We could get started off in a few, but let's just get acclimated. Let's talk a little hip hop real quick before I get introduced, because I just finished watching the Drake and Meek Mill video.
Oh,
Going
really?
viral. Yes.
I didn't
The
see it yet. I did see the rollout for it.
oh wow.
Um, it was just like, I saw different covers and stuff for it, but I didn't get to check it out yet. How was it?
It was very interesting. The song is amazing. Like I said, when we get two artists of their calibers together, working together. Like I said, the beef was good for hip hop into a certain dynamic, but it's better for hip hop when they're working together, making great music.
Right.
That's how I just feel. And
Yeah.
but there was a lot of cameos. I like that. I
Oh,
saw
really?
Nipsey was in the video.
Oh, yeah. I did see him on a flyer for it. It's kind of like a Goodfellas type vibe
Yes,
when I saw the flyer, the cover.
absolutely. The visuals was amazing. I believe it was
Hmm.
shot by Kid Art.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, amazing video. And wait, not to go too off, but the what was it? ASAP Rocky. He just dropped a music
Uh-huh.
video. The kids going bad, or the kids turned out good. I forgot what it was. Another
Uh-huh.
great video. Dexter Navy, another innovative visual artist. He just goes all
Yeah.
over the place with everything. But
Right. So are you an ASAP Rocky fan like that?
uh,
Or are you
I'm not
just
gonna say
like,
I'm not. I love me some
okay.
ASAP. I can't say
Yeah.
it's just it's a weird place with him right now, because as far as with the music and the content, I feel like he's getting caught up in too much of I think like the saturation of the industry, and less of the
Yeah.
actual being in the actual booth and the studio and the stuff that got him there. The boots to the
Hmm.
grind labor. When you're in the
Yeah.
lab, we're grinding 4 in the morning. I think he's just spending
Right.
too much time in Paris, man. And
Yeah, he's like fancy now with the labels, and
yeah,
he's very like Kim Kardashian, Kanye West vibes is what
absolutely.
I'm getting.
That's definitely the feel I was getting with it. That's definitely the
Yeah,
feel.
because I saw him on tour when he was with Rihanna. He opened up for Rihanna a few years ago, and he still had that vibe, but now it's just like I don't see him or whatever. And so when he drops stuff, it's just like I'm not really looking for it.
Yeah,
But
I
that's dope that
strongly
he has
agree.
a video.
No, absolutely, absolutely. But that was just to get warmed up, get conversations flowing, get the whole thing. But just to get a vibe going. But like I said, this is the Daily Heat Check Smokecast. We'll get it cracking off right now. This is a marvelous moment. I am your host, Sir PifferyGoodz. You can find me at Twitter and on Instagram at PiffBeats. And today we have a very special guest. I do not know how to introduce, but I will go with Danielle.FUTW. Danielle, let us know, where could we find you? What is the proper way to introduce you? Please talk to us right now.
Um, yeah, you could just call me Danielle, and you could find me on Instagram at Danielle.FUTW, and on Twitter it's at Danielle.FUTW without the dot.
See,
And I am the co-host of the Internal Quest Show.
absolutely. And that's the best part to get this show started. But then again, you are one of the biggest enthusiasts and well knowledge people I know as far as with the hip hop, whether it be on the Jersey level or just as long as hip hop is pure. And I find that to be one of the best hosts to have on because, one, I've known you for a while since the beat battle era. You've been
Yeah,
around since then,
I've
and
been around.
yeah, and you know, and then like, and the hip hop was grimy then,
Yeah,
and I only say that because it wasn't a scene where you would expect a lot of women to come out just to appreciate the hip hop, but then again, you was on the forefront of that, leading that. And I was just like, wow, that's just
yeah,
amazing. And then we get the Thai Phoenixes that come in and shatter the beat battles and just break,
yeah.
just leave the whole the whole scene just flabbergasted. But now your love for hip hop, where did that start? Talk to us. Let us know where it's
Yeah.
all manifested.
Yeah, of course. So, as a kid, I was always obsessed with music, and also my main thing when I was like a teenager, I used to look at the booklets and albums,
Hmm.
and look at like who wrote what song and who was what producer and stuff like that. So I was like that type of nerd where I was just analyzing the different producers and publishers and stuff like that. And so it started with that. And then I wanted to be a journalist when I was in middle school. And so in high school, one of my English teachers, her daughter actually worked for the Source magazine when I was a senior in high school. And so we took a field trip to the Source. And this is when Benzino and Dave Mays were still the owners.
Oh wow.
And so, Kim Rosario was the editor in chief. And I remember vividly, like, Trina was on the cover. She was like on this floaty device or something in the pool, and I could see like how they piece everything together for the magazine and stuff like that. So I would, in my journalism class, I would just make up different like gossip articles and stuff. And so that's what I wanted to do. And after I graduated high school, I started to write for different magazines. It was a local magazine called Grinders Magazine in Newark and Elizabeth area, and I wrote like the first two issues of that back in 2006, 2007. And then when I was interviewing local artists, I ran into Broadway Blake. And, ever since then, me and him been like real tight. And I met Quest that way.
Oh wow. Okay. So wait, you just gave us a lot of fast tracking there, and I like that. So but then that's the beauty of this because I like to go rewind, take my time, comb through it.
Yeah. Uh huh.
So, it started off as a young girl appreciating hip hop. So now I'm just saying your appreciation it never manifests to being a creator. You never wanted to
Hmm.
actually create any of music or be any and part of the creative process because that's how
Um.
it starts out for a lot of us. Whether
Yeah.
as children. But I
Yeah.
just want to know.
Well, I was also writing poetry in middle school and high school, but my heart was more so into writing for magazines once I was like in high school, and so that's where that led.
Okay, so we have a little poetry background. So
Yeah.
so we got a little bit of bars with the poetry, or this was more say with the
It was
that.
more like intellectual
Okay, I'm just
poetry.
just saying because I didn't know if you slipped a little 16 in there, few metaphors like ooh, you heard that?
I wish I
Okay.
wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I would still be at it.
No,
For real.
absolutely. But
Yeah.
now, just analyzing it from that point of view, I find that to be quite interesting. Because now, from there, we go on with the writing. So we already had a knack for writing, whether it be
Hmm.
poetry. Now, how did that actually transition into journalism? Because you could have took so many different routes as far as with the
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah,
To
you're
to
right.
to go with the journalism route, or at least to go with hip hop journalism, or just music, or just journalism in general. Like that was
Yeah.
interesting. Why that direction?
Because when I was in high school, it was at the point where Jay-Z was dropping albums every year, every summer. And so, Double XL, the Source magazine, those were like it was people were still actually purchasing magazines, so it was
Yeah.
still a thing. So it was like, I would rather, the source was up there. It was, it's legendary. So I just love the history of things. So the source was always like something that was an accomplishment for me. So after I visited as a senior in high school, I eventually interned there probably like 5 years later when I was in college. A friend of mine, Cedric Butler, he was also a musician. He had a connect or whatever, and I was looking for internships ever since I graduated high school. And then he knew a connect, and I got the interview to intern for the Source magazine, and I got the internship. And then unfortunately, like within a few weeks, Cedric passed away. And
Oh
so
wow.
my goal for him was to, he was an artist. Him and his boy, they were like a duo. Was to get them in Unsigned Hype. And so I got the internship in February. He passed like February 18th. And I got them in Unsigned Hype June of 2008.
Congratulations on completing that
Yeah.
mission. Absolutely.
Yeah, because like my whole thing is about loyalty. So, he really looked out, and he was someone that I looked up to. And actually, DJ Priority, he was friends with
Absolutely.
him. So, yeah, it was just I just wanted to look out,
No,
and that's what I
absolutely.
did.
That's just a wonderful story, even knowing. That's why I said I like to always go back and dig deep in between the lines. And now, knowing that is just very interesting. So from there, we pursue the journalism. We have a
Hmm.
platform, or at least this is the platform we want to take to at least be expressive with our voice within the musical stage. And the source was a target. Now,
Hmm.
was that a target before the trip to the source, or
Hmm.
after the trip to the source? This was like, yes, I have to be in here. This
Oh,
is the one.
yeah. Yeah, the source was always like, number one in my book because I would actually like, save my little money from my mom or whatever to go get a magazine. So that was from like when I was in middle school up until coincidentally, my teacher, her daughter was a writer as well, a journalist. So it just like, the stars aligned and I got the opportunity to check it out. And then it came full circle when I interned there.
Okay, marvelous, marvelous. So now, like you said, a little time passes after high school,
Mm,
and during that time, you still have a love for hip hop. Are we still
yeah.
doing poetry at this time, or is it full on journalism? It's full on, getting ready for the
Yeah.
next step. I just want to know, what's the mindset? Bring us into that mindset right now.
Yeah, I've always been like a big hip hop head. So from when I was like probably 8 or whatever, my babysitter would like play Tribe Called Quest, Leaders of the
Yeah.
New School. So that was like in my house, and we would watch like video music box and stuff like that. So it was always around. And then I would like listen to the radio and try to write down the lyrics and stuff. So, I've always been a hip hop head. And after high school, I was, now I'm still a big Jay-Z fan. So even back then when Jay-Z was putting out albums every year, I had to be like a hip hop fan because I was so obsessed with him then.
No, see, and I find this to be beautiful because I find this to be like a very golden period because
Hmm.
this is right before we get the internship. We're still, have a love for hip hop. We're grooming our talent, and then Jay Z is just dropping back to back
Yeah.
albums. I believe this is either post retirement or pre retirement.
Yeah. When I was in high school, it was from 98 to 2002.
Okay, so
So I got to experience like the Blueprint, the
oh,
Dynasty album,
one of
and
my
all of that
favorites.
while in high school, and then the
Yes,
ether and all that stuff.
yes.
So arguing with dudes and stuff at the cafeteria table, that was me.
So see, this is beautiful. So now, during this time before we get to the internship, what was the
Mhm.
most influential, I would say, album slash record that came out that was like, yes, hip hop is this is it? Because
Mm.
it's like how
There's
could I?
so much to pick from because you got DMX that was also bringing out stuff every year too. And then like when
Mm,
Lauryn Hill finally came out in '98, I was like going from middle school to high school.
yeah.
So it was just like so many like influential albums. And then Beanie Siegel came out,
Oh my God.
and
Oh, I was just
you
looking at
know,
that
it
beanie
was
last
just a
night.
lot.
We was literally just looking at that beanie last night. This is so crazy you brought that up. We was looking at Nothing Like It, the first Beans album. Then we started looking at
Yeah.
the second. But
The Reason is my favorite album.
oh, the reason is so good. The
Mhm.
reason.
Yeah.
You see, yeah, the reason is probably my favorite as well. Yeah,
Mhm.
because that one was just from start to finish, just an overall classic. Like Beans, like
Yeah.
I look at Beans now and I just feel like, yo, that's why I'm happy to see Meek get all the success he has. Because I think like
Mhm.
Beans went over the hill first to take those bullets for Meek, just to make the fucking
Yeah.
pavement clear. Because
Yeah.
Cats wasn't really bumping
That's so
Philly
true.
artists like that, and Philly,
Right.
then Beans paved the way for State Prop, but then they just fell
Mhm.
apart within like 4 to 5 years. The stability within the union was not there.
Yeah.
But
That is so true.
so we get past that. Now we approach the internship. Like
Mhm.
let me know, how does this actually come about? Is this
Mhm.
you get a phone call, hey Danielle, what are you doing? You looking
Yeah.
for an opportunity, or are you actually like, yo, you're kicking down doors, flipping rocks. I need to get away into this building. Like let me know how.
Yeah. So so after high school or whatever, I started writing for different magazines. So I was writing for like allhiphop.com. I actually was writing for like this New Zealand website. They actually came to me and they found me on MySpace,
Oh
and they
wow.
gave me like money up front. They gave me like a little advance. They gave me a Mac computer, camera, and all of that, and they just told me to go out and like look for concerts and stuff to go to. And so I was doing that, and then Grinders magazine was part. It was like a Jersey local magazine, and I was interviewing local artists. And then when the Source came, I had the opportunity to meet like Sky Zoo, and
Oh,
that's
I'm
how
sorry.
our
So wait, the
friendship.
grinders was before the source?
The Source,
Oh wait,
yeah,
so wait, before we
this,
so let's talk about grinders first. Let's not skip. Let's
uh-huh,
not skip because
yeah.
that's still a pivotal part in the career. So let's talk
Mhm.
about the grinders. How did that happen? Was that just you
I
know?
think I can. Yeah, it was like something I found on MySpace, because MySpace was everything back then,
Yeah.
and it was like they were looking for writers, and I hit them up and I was like I could pretty much write the whole issue for you, and and I did, and so I was like the owner would set up different interviews or whatever. It could be like on the phone or in person and stuff like that, and I pulled together the first two issues of it,
Oh
and then
wow.
from there I went on to
Wait,
do
the entire issue you constructed the first two by yourself, ground up.
yeah, yeah.
Wow, you say that like it's such a small thing, or am I just overlooking this right now?
I mean, it's it's definitely not a small thing, but like I was working like day and night, in between classes and stuff to do. I was going to Essex County College, and in between classes, I would just write these articles and come up with different ideas and stuff. And that was like my baby for, I think that was 2006. And it was a lot of hard work, and eventually I felt like I wanted to get paid for all of that hard work, and I moved on to other things. But that definitely helped me get my foot out there to meet a lot of local artists.
No, absolutely. Now, during that time, was there any pivotal local artists you met, or any local artists that you got before they became, or got any like their rise to fame? Because
Um,
it's a very small world, but some people
yeah.
cross doors like, wow, yeah, look at him
Mhm.
now. He ended up doing battle rap, or he ended up becoming
All
successful
right.
in this, or
Uh, mhm. Like I remember it was a interview Hussein Fatal from the Outlaws.
oh wow,
That was part of it.
rest
So
in
yeah, I
peace.
mean yeah, rest in peace to him. And it was a lot of local artists. I just can't remember
No,
offhand,
no, it's
but
totally fine. It's totally fine. There's a
yeah.
time, we got time in there, but now it's just more so just to highlight that part of the the journey, but now we get past that, and now we move on to bigger and better things. Now,
Yeah.
how does the source actually come about?
Uh-huh.
Are we kicking down
Oh, that's how I
doors?
met
Yeah,
my friend Cedric.
Okay.
He was, he had a rap duo with him and his friend, and they're from Jersey,
Hmm.
Jersey City.
Okay.
And I actually had them in Grinders, and we became friends and all of that. And he had to connect.
Wow, look at that. Wait, that's a pivotal artist. We met him through
Yeah,
Grinders, or
yeah. No, I didn't meet him through Grinders. I
okay,
met him like MySpace.
okay,
All these artists that I would interview was like through MySpace or
okay. These
someone
were through
knew
your own
them.
connections.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so my friend is the one that linked me to the Source magazine, and I went in for the interview, and they gave me the internship right then and there.
Wow, on the spot.
Yeah, because I just came in with like the little grind. Well, it was like the Grinders magazine were like not a large magazine. It was kind
Yeah,
of like how the Jet magazine used to look.
yeah.
It was that size. So I
Okay.
just came in with like the work that I did for that, and showed them, and
Oh
and
wow.
to get an internship isn't really not that hard. They just want to know that you have like good work ethic.
No,
So it
absolutely.
wasn't hard to get it.
But then again, like you said, it's not that hard to get it as long as like you could present the good work ethic, and
Uh huh.
the tools that they're looking for. Because at the
Yeah.
same time, there's thousands of people that get denied or who would love to get an internship and they can't even get
Mhm.
close to the building door.
Right.
So I find that to be, it could go both ways, but at the same time, you are in the building, and I find that to be marvelous. So while
Yeah.
there, tell us about your time, your journeys throughout the source. Let us know. Give us some insight on this. We're in the
Yeah.
building now.
Yeah.
We're
I'm in the
actually, uh huh.
building, and at this point, they're in a financial district downtown. When I saw them as a senior in high school, they were like on Park Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
and they were dealing with like Benzino was about to sell it to BET, I believe. And then it was remember the Eminem tapes where they said he was saying
Yes.
the N word? So we
Yes.
found those. It was like it was me and a few other interns, so we had to go to like the storage unit in Queens or something like that.
Are you
And
serious?
yeah, and we came across all these tapes of Eminem.
Wow.
Yeah, and like it's like back issues of the source that I got to keep for myself because they were getting rid of it. So at the time they were basically going bankrupt, so they were like cleaning house a little bit. And so me and the other interns, we got to go to the storage unit, pick whatever we wanted. And I got like a whole bunch. I came home with like two garbage bags full of Source magazines. And so,
This is crazy. So wow. So you were there. Let me. How could I word this? You were there during the bankruptcy, or you were
yeah,
there at the height and then the bankruptcy?
it was during because
Okay.
Benzino and Dave Mays weren't there anymore. And I believe people were trying to purchase the magazine.
Oh wow. So this is right at
Yeah.
that.
This
Okay.
is when they were trying to have more influencers on the cover, like they had Kimora Lee on the cover and they stopped putting artists on the cover.
Yeah.
That's when I was there.
Oh, okay, okay. So I understand. So this is an interesting time for the source. So with that
Yeah.
being said, as a journalist, being a fan for hip hop, and even just telling me that they were straying away from the artist, the thing that made you
Mhm.
appreciate and want to buy the
Yeah.
magazine to
It
this
was hard
different
to be
direction.
there. It was hard to be there because, I'm a big hip hop fan, and they would ask us about like who they wanted on the cover, and it was like this big back and forth with Kimora Lee being on the cover, and I just remember sitting there like, "Are y'all serious?" Uh, and meanwhile, I would use like my clout basically saying that I
Hmm.
was a intern at the source to get interviews with other people. Like I interviewed Sky Zoo, that's how we met. And
Oh,
that EP he did when Ninth Wonder dropped, and I
yes.
got to interview him there. And
Nice.
then I had invited him to the MTP battle
Nice.
in Newark. So that's how that happened.
Oh wow, plugs on plugs. This is history on this is history unfolding right now. This is very
Yeah.
interesting. Wow. So
And
keep
and I
going.
even I interviewed Amanda Diva when she now goes by Amanda Seals, but
Huh.
then she was a hip hop head herself, and she had a mixtape out, and I got to interview her. And I'm not sure if you're aware of who she is, but she's still the same. Like, she still talk about, like, black everything and
Mm.
hip hop. She's a hip hop head and she's funny. So she's still the same person. And like those type of interviews really make me um cherish like being a journalist, because I asked, like, so what are the like, give me advice about trying to succeed in a hip hop game, or and stuff like that. And she was honest, and she was like, you just got to be yourself. And looking back at that now and looking at her now, she's on like Insecure on HBO, and she just had her own comedy show. So and seeing how she's still the same person that I met back in
Yeah.
2007 and 2008 is crazy.
Oh, that's amazing. That is
Yeah.
amazing. Look at this. See, this is why I gotta comb through the details, man. This is just amazing. No, absolutely. So
Yeah.
so after this, so this is the source. We see the source crumble. Do we stay
Mhm.
for it to be sold? Do we leave before the sale?
Uh-huh. I
Tell
was
us tell
still
us the
there.
departure.
I was like milking it up. So so I would they would have us interns listen to the Unsung Hype tapes. So
Okay.
that's how I got my friend into the column, June of 2008, 2007, I believe it was that year. But that was like, I just milked everything up. I wanted to investigate everything. I remember Red Alert came,
Okay.
and I was part of like just listening to him and talking about how he talked about his history in the game and stuff. So like different interviews like that, I got to sit in different interviews that I necessarily didn't write. Just like soaking it up really,
No,
and
absolutely.
just being a fly on the wall, and they allowed us to do that while they were in transition.
No, that's beautiful. That's another thing too that I feel that a lot of people don't really take advantage of when in situations like that. I think the key phrase was fly on the wall, because
Yeah.
you may not be exactly the one executing everything, but just being in the room. Like I tell people, just to
Mm-hmm.
be in the room when Nas and Jay-Z is having the talk after Ether, or when certain
Yeah.
big wigs in hip hop are discussing the future of where they're directing things. Just to be a
Mm-hmm.
fly in the wall for certain conversations like that, like you said, is just that's impactful, because that's just like,
Yeah.
wow. I'm in
Mm-hmm.
the room. You feel me? It's just
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah. It
We'll
was
work on
crazy.
getting my voice into the conversation and getting an impactful view. But I'm in the fucking room.
Exactly.
you
And
know?
just like, just being a part of the moment. I feel like a lot of people, well, now they don't
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
like portray like an image that they're on top or whatever. But like, even if you're not in the right position that you want to be, and you're just the intern or whatever, I just feel like you could take in the moment and network. It's a networking opportunity. And that's basically what I used it as. And it helped me to do other things. So,
No, absolutely.
yeah.
And when you put it like that, that's definitely the lesson to be taken away, or at least more so extracted from the situation. Always take,
Hmm.
turn everything into a positive for yourself. Even
Yeah.
if it's a great situation, make it greater for yourself somehow. There's always a way to milk it. And if it's a bad situation, make it a good one for yourself.
All
You know.
right. I
so
remember I interned at Def Jam, and Kanye West's Dark Twisted Fantasy came out, and that internship was hell. It was so boring, but like, but like when the whole rollout for that album was fun, because he had like a whole movie that was part of it, and then you would hear him in the room with his his manager yelling at him. So like you got to experience like Kanye in that moment. So
Okay.
um
That's beautiful. Wait,
that's
and this is right after the source?
nah, this was like a few years after.
Okay.
I was like at the source, I was at Essex County College, and then when I finished, I had like a big gap to get my bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to Montclair State, I got my bachelor's degree there, and I needed a few internships. So Def Jam was one of them, and BMI was the other.
Nice. See, so
Hmm.
now with those two experiences, see, this is why I didn't. I, that's why I'm very attentive. So now, tell us about these experiences.
Uh-huh.
I mean, BMI and Def Jam. Which one?
Yeah.
I don't know which one you want to go with first, but please, these are both
Yeah.
interesting. Two different companies, but two big players in the music industry.
Yeah, Def Jam was interesting. It was a lot of, assistants that felt like that they were like everything. Like they had a lot of power but didn't, and treated interns not so great. So, the best opportunity that I had from that experience was when Kanye dropped My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and being a part of like the listening sessions for that, and then the listening sessions for Rihanna's album. I forgot the name of it. It's the red. It's like red on the cover, and listening to songs that didn't drop and stuff like that. So, um, I tried my best with like networking there, but it's a lot of it was hard. It was harder than the source because of certain assistance and stuff. But I felt like I got the most out of interning at BMI because again I utilized my music geek nerdiness of looking through books and knowing publishers and stuff, and utilizing that to get the BMI internship to investigate withheld royalties and different like estate issues and stuff while I was at BMI. So while there, I got to learn a lot about how musicians are paid and how artists can get the best usage for generating money. So while I was interning there, I got to be a little nosy, see who who actually writes for what song and stuff like that. And then at the time, I was really cool with Ella Sensei, so I utilized him as like a guinea pig, and I investigated him a little bit and realized he had like a significant amount of money that was withheld from Atlantic back from the 90s. And
Oh
so I
wow.
had helped him get that money from like 1992 while I
Oh
was an
wow.
intern.
Wait, and this
Yeah.
is all from interning at BMI.
Yeah. Yeah, they trusted me with the finances. So, um,
That is huge though. I'm not gonna lie to you.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I hate to make it seem bigger than what it is, but I find that to be
Uh-huh.
huge that just from the internship you were able to look through that, and that's huge. That is
Yeah. It was so, like, I felt like that because, people put like Def Jam and all these labels on a pedestal, but
yeah,
like, I felt like BMI was the best place to learn so much about the industry and how the back end is, because that's
absolutely.
more of how I'm passionate about it, and making sure artists are aware of the different avenues they could take to get money, so especially from their artistry. So I learned so much there and a lot about estates and stuff. So yeah, and I helped him and I helped Sky Zoo for a commercial that he wanted to get money from. And then of course Internal Quest was
Yeah.
my guinea pig while I was there. And I helped him get his papers right and his royalties together. And he still gets checks today. So
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. This is amazing. See, this is information that this is very vital for people right now. See, you could have
mhm.
your own artist. What's this not the development or structural thing? You get what I'm saying? Whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Right.
like I knew you were knowledgeable in hip hop, but I didn't know your
Mhm.
knowledge in the industry was that deep as well. So this is
Yeah.
just even more beautiful for artists listening or anyone who gets their hands on this, because this is like a
Mhm.
great interview just for me even having.
Yeah.
But now,
Yeah, because I
now,
feel like a lot of people are so jaded with, oh, I
hmm
need to be signed to a label.
yeah,
Um, but if you take the time and learn the industry, all you need to know is like, royalties, your performance royalties, your mechanical, and just do everything indie. So, yeah, that's
this
what I've, provided that information to Quest, Blake, the rest of the Life crew, and all of that.
absolutely. Now I find this to be it's fascinating because we're about. Hold on, gotta sneeze. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. So I find this fascinating because we're about 30 minutes in.
Hmm.
You gave me the fast track, but now we're 30 minutes in and we didn't even touch the beat battles yet.
Yeah, we did.
So this is getting very interesting. So
Yeah.
after all this, let's get into the Jersey scene, the beat
Hmm.
battles. How did this come about? How did you get, how did you find out
Uh,
about this?
that was all happening when I was an intern for the Source because I utilized my my clout with the Source to get a job as a judge for. I think it wasn't MTP. It was the P something. It was another one.
IPA?
Uh, no, it was with,
PVC?
I can't remember. It was
Okay.
with my brain is freezing right now. But it was in South Orange, and it was Natus's first beat battle, and I
Okay.
pushed him to be in a beat battle. He was like 16 in high school, and he was like, "Yeah, I just want to be a producer." And I was like, "Natus, you should just do beat battles." And so I forced him to be in this particular beat battle, and he actually won it. And
Nice.
then now look at him. So, like,
Absolutely. Shout outs to Natus. I ran into him the other day, man. That's
mm,
beautiful. That's a beautiful story just to even know. Shout
yeah.
outs to Danielle, shout outs to you. Shout outs to you.
Thank you.
See, this is why, and I just want to say this. Every interview I have, they always give me the fast track. And then when we break it down, it's like so much history in this. I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
guys.
It's like little nuggets or whatever,
It's like, why
yeah.
you guys make me work? Why you guys make
That's your job as a host.
So you're right. You're right. So
Oh
we get
man.
the judging. So we find out about the beat
Yeah.
battle since the source, and that's amazing. So
Uh-huh.
we judge we judge one, and then from
Hmm.
there, do we keep judging? Do we how does
I
this
just
go?
did one. It was with oh my god, my brain is freezing. But I did judge with like some notable producers,
Mm,
and let me look for the name real fast and then I'll come back. But I did that, and then I was cool with Quest and Blake and all of them. And I met Tim Grant at the
mm,
Natus beat battle that he won. And then me and Tim would put together different events in Brooklyn, which is one of the beat battles that we did in Brooklyn, which was like really huge. The winner won like a 7 foot trophy, and I believe Quest was part of it, and it was like really dope. It was in Brooklyn, and
mm.
yeah.
So we go from there. Now we get to say MTP. Now
Hmm.
now we're at MTP. Like, what is the feel here? What is the
Hmm.
vibe here? It's a young beat battle. It's thriving. I'm guessing. I don't know when did you come because I came late. That's why I say that.
Yeah.
I didn't
Uh-huh.
I wasn't there when I forgot his name. Rugged and Raw.
Yeah.
I think he won. I think it was there. I think it was going for probably 2 years before I finally found out about it. But then that's even just a testament to how like niche and underground it was when it was out and about. But
Hmm.
how early did you find out about it? Like you said, or you was there from the inception.
I think I was there from the beginning because I was friends. I would just follow Quest and Blake and all of them around to different events and stuff. And so when they were there, I was there.
Okay.
And then when I had interviewed Sky Zoo for the source, I asked him if he could come out to the MTP show, and he did. And that was his first time in Newark, actually.
Look at
I think
this.
he brought out Torre, too.
Yeah, I think Torre was there too in the cut. Look at this.
Yeah.
This is marvelous. This is marvelous. More history being unveiled. So now,
Yeah.
in the
Oh,
MC.
yeah, it was the person that I judged with. You're going to beat me up for this. It's Marco Polo.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I couldn't.
Wow! Are
Yeah.
you serious?
Yeah. I was like, I can't think of his name. But
Wow!
yeah.
Wow!
Hmm.
Danielle, shout out to you, the OG in this game, the motherfucking OG in this game.
Yeah. It
So,
was fun. I miss those days where,
oh,
the beat
absolutely.
battles and the different shows and stuff.
Oh, and see, the thing
But
I
yeah.
tell people, it was so grimy. And when I say grimy, not in like a grimy, like, like a gully way. I mean like in a hip hop, boom bap,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's something you
Yeah.
can't find now. Everything's just too clean
Uh-uh.
and so,
Right.
would you like a latte and
Everybody
something with that?
singing.
Absolutely. It's like
Yeah.
that grimy, even like the meat locker at times. Like I'm not gonna
Hmm.
lie, I enjoyed that a lot. I was like, this is just
Yeah.
dirty. Like this is
Right.
hip hop.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
so from there, the beat battles has just always been a thing. So you just
Hmm.
from there, I'm guessing this is where we met DJ Priority. You always knew.
Yeah.
So from there, we just manifest into the hip hop scene, and then the hip hop
Hmm.
scene in Jersey just it's thriving. A lot of artists comes from there.
Hmm.
A lot of great producers we know now and today. And now when we look at the status of the beat battles now, to see rap battles supersede them, but then even knowing what beat battles was on the forefront
Hmm.
of, do you think that they were overlooked more, say? Because you was there seeing it. I don't want to say overlooked, but
Yeah.
seeing where
I
where
mean,
beat rap
hmm
battles have gone.
yeah. I feel like for some reason it just died out. I'm not sure of why.
Yeah.
'Cause like when me and Tim did the beat battle in Brooklyn, we had Ill Mind come out, Pharoah Munch came out, Elder Sensei was there. It was just a different vibe for some reason. I
Hmm.
don't know how, like, why it died out, but yeah, it's definitely, I would say it's definitely overlooked because now I used to like, every time I would see like Nice Wonder go live or whatever and try to making beats and stuff, I still get excited for that. So I don't
Absolutely.
know. It's still
Absolutely.
a lane for it. Um, I would love to see it come back.
I agree. I strongly agree. I feel like that's just something that, like the hip hop heads and the true fans of the culture always have an appetite for. But then again, it's like, I just find it to be just something just more so impactful. Now,
Hmm.
when we look past that, we have a lot of history here from the journalism, the different internships, the different label knowledge, to everything that you just break down. I find the history with different production and producers. This is just fascinating. I find this to be a very
Hmm.
fascinating journey you have. And now,
Yeah.
as we
Thanks.
continue the journey, I don't want to overlook anything, but now we're at the
Hmm.
current state where you're the current co-host of the Eternal Quest show. Now
Yes.
we're into podcasting, and I
Yeah.
find this to be marvelous. And I never ever want to, and I thread lightly on this because I never ever
Hmm.
want to make this sound, it's all hip hop in general. You feel me? We're
Hmm.
all one. But when I look at it to see women in hip hop, I don't see them to be more so as prevalent or, in the role that you have. Because I find that what you're doing is so strong. Now, as a
Yeah.
woman in hip hop, or seeing the trends, everything throughout the years. Like you said, this is almost 10 years of OG history you got. And from just listening,
Yeah.
I'm being very dead serious. From just listening, I'm like,
Yeah.
I learned a
I
lot from
know,
just interviewing
but
you.
when from a person like me who is like always behind the scenes and stuff like that,
Yeah,
this is like rare for me to even elaborate on it. And then even think about like 10 years ago and thinking about remembering names and stuff like that. So this is new to me. But
absolutely.
I do appreciate you wanting to interview me. This is great.
No, absolutely. Wait, we're not done yet. But as far as
Yeah.
being the voice in hip hop now, and I say that just to transition to now on the Internal Quest show,
Mhm.
you know, I feel that your voice in hip hop is gonna really change the way shit is overlooked now, as far as on the Jersey scene, the major scene. I say that because like for me, I like the direction of hip hop is going, but I feel like there's a lot of shit now that's like with the new generation, shit is just going like all over the place, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just being like, you know, it's overlooked. And I feel that you have a lot of strong opinions in hip hop, and you always had a great taste for music. And now on
Mhm.
the Internal Quest show, and you know, tell me how you really, how could I put it? How do you translate your journalism into podcasting now? In, you
Mhm.
know, like I find that to be a new accolade more so that you're achieving now too, because I find that to be a
Mhm.
voice that needs to be heard, and you know, on certain topics. Because I have some stuff here on the second half of the interview, if you have time for it,
Mhm.
that I want to discuss with you too. You know,
Yeah.
nothing crazy, but you know, stuff in hip hop, you know, stuff that got me upset. But then at the same time, but just let's start with the podcasting. Your voice in
Mhm.
podcasting. Let me know, like, how do you translate that? Your thoughts in journalism, because hip hop now, a lot of things is not as binary as it once was. Like, is that
Right.
safe to say?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I transitioned from like writing to now, I guess, hip hop. I mean, to podcasting through like that same vein of when I was in a senior in high school and I was creating like these gossip articles and stuff like that. I just focused on like the trending topics that people want to hear about or hear like strong opinions about, and then also incorporate that indie vibe where I want to make sure I'm educating you about how you could get some money, get money and, excel your craft to a larger scale. So that's where the Music Geek News segment is part of the Internal Quest show. And then eventually I'm going to have that as part of my YouTube channel, to focus more so on music reviews and also providing education on how to excel your craft and things like that. So that's how I'm basically utilizing my journalism voice, is still include, the trending topics and stuff like that. I go into the show not really knowing what exactly we're going to talk about most of the time. When me and Quest do episodes, it's just how we, talk anyway on a regular basis. So it's real natural, and so it's basically a peek into what me and Quest talk about on a daily basis as friends and hip hop heads and stuff like that. And then also providing a platform for local artists to get their music out there and also get educated.
I love it. I love it. I love it. No, wait, I absolutely love it. I asked the question. You couldn't answer it
Start
any
to
more,
the
and I
music,
heard.